What is the biggest difference between a top 500 Loki versus an average Loki player? Well, it might surprise you that the difference maker is how they use one button. And throughout this gameplay from the rank 1 Loki in the world, we're going to showcase how Sypeh utilizes his clones throughout the match, getting maximum value from them, and quite frankly, being the difference between a top tier Loki versus a metal rank Loki. And so as we jump into this gameplay here on Hall of Jalia, you are going to notice straight away that he utilizes his clones to aid his environmental destruction on point 1, destroying the flank route and the bridge in the wall up front, creating an extra sightline for his team if needed. And this is one of the things I've been trying to do in my Celestial ranked matches, is creating my own sightlines via the environmental destruction, something which we will most likely see a lot throughout the match. And so as the enemy team goes up on the high ground on the right, you're going to see Sypeh position himself and his clones up top on the high ground, giving him a full view of the ongoing team fight. And this plays right into Loki's strengths, being able to deliver that AoE burst healing from a long distance, keeping himself out of the direct line of fire, but still supporting his team to the best visibility from this position. And right here, he puts another clone down with a regen pool to try and aid his team, but unfortunately with his invisible woman going down early on, Sypeh is going to have to give this one up. Not too much you can really do here, but I do like this TP out just to save the stats. So after giving up point 1, Sypeh is going to have to retreat back to the middle of point 2 here. He's got one clone down right now. I want you guys to take a look at how Sypeh has positioned himself and his clones in relation to his team. You're going to see throughout this match that Sypeh often keeps one clone up front where the front line is in case he needs to put a pull down for his teammates to use. It looks like now Sparker is going to go down, unfortunately. Looks like he may have OE'd a little bit there. God of Mischief going out now. He's going to pop the invisible boundary through the clone invisible woman. Enemy team is going to respond with one of their own. He's got 3 seconds left on this, so tanks are going to be backing up a little bit here. And you know, Sypeh going to back off to this. Doesn't want to OE a little bit too much like Sparker previously did. Another invisible boundary going up by both his and the enemy team. Going to make sure that this invisible woman stays alive. Oh, she barely manages to live through that. But yeah, now you have the Storm Maul after all the support ults have been popped, and it's just not much you can really do there. So it is going to be a reset for the defending team. So coming back off the respawn, Sypeh and his invisible woman are going to need to start farming ults as soon as possible. Agamotto gets popped by the enemy strings. Sypeh, yep, he's going to put a pool up front, utilizing the regen pool to the best visibility. Not going to be able to save the invisible one as well. And you're going to see Fi and Sparker respond with the Agamotto and Kraken impact of their own. Sparker going to get a second reset now, and Sypeh just trying to keep his whole team alive while Bucky does his thing. Unfortunately, Sparker does go down. I don't know if he's able to actually be healed there. I think the cart might have been blocking it just a tiny bit. But now after that last fight, we need to think, okay, both teams just burned Agamotto and Kraken impact. Enemy Storm ult was used last fight, so we are going to be close to having God of Mischief online as of now. And so as a support player, you need to be thinking to yourself, okay, when is the opportune moment to use this ultimate, and what ultimates could the enemy team have right now, or what is going to be up soon? One of the biggest mistakes that I'm still trying to work on as a Celestial support player is sitting on my ultimate for way too long, and even post-nerf Loki is still able to get his ultimate out pretty quickly by comparison, and he also does decent damage when his clones are up too. But now, of course, we have the invisible boundary going up for both teams, just kind of matching that extra utility that the enemy team utilized to ensure that nobody goes down. But now we have the enemy clobbering time going out. In hindsight 2020, bro, I'm not even sure if this is the right play. We don't have pools to unfortunately save our tank line, and I think we are just going to have to give this one up right here. Not really too much we could do there. You guys saw the clone go up again, but the regen pools were unfortunately on cooldown. And of course, we have the enemy strange just now pop his Agamotto. And we have the thing on our sack. We are going to put the clone up. I'm probably going to TP. Yep, there we go. I like the TP out, just save the stats, try and get out. Hopefully we can save our Magneto here. I think he's going to be fine, though. It doesn't look like he's going to be contested too much. Thing might have actually OE'd here. And yeah, unfortunately, the thing just kind of got a little bit too aggressive there. But, you know, we take those. It is what it is, though. Just a little mistake on his end. Now, right here, looks like the entirety of Sypeh's team is now back on the front line. And guys, just like I mentioned previously, you're going to see Sypeh put up another clone right up on the front line. He doesn't actually need to use his regen pools yet, but he does want to have that clone in position just in case. So now we have the enemy Storm ult coming out. We're probably going to see invisible boundary soon. Yep, Sypeh's going to stay far back. He doesn't want to get into that for no reason. However, the enemy Storm is going to go down to the hands of Sparker, and now gives Sypeh some room to push up here, take a little bit more space to aid his team. I don't mind this play at all. So now with this downtime in between fights, we need to be tracking ults. We know that our Agamotto and God of Mischief are about to be online, but they also just popped Storm ult, and it's been a little bit since the enemy's invisible boundary and their own Agamotto. So it may be wise to play back a little bit with our invisible woman in mind should things go south. And if you guys remember back on point 1, when invisible woman went down, things fell apart almost instantly. So if I'm in Sypeh's shoes right now, I want to be playing back to my strengths, but also ensuring that invisible woman stays up, because our team's life is dependent on that clone support ult should the enemy pop Kraken impact, Agamotto, clobbering time, etc. However, as the enemy Loki falls to the hands of our Black Panther, that's going to open up an opportunity for Fi to go for a 3-man Agamotto, and that's just going to be another team fight win for our defending team here. And so as we come back into this next team fight, again, we're playing back. We have all of our cooldowns up. Agamotto's going to go down, and the thing is on our sack right now. We're going to pop our clones just to stay alive and copy the invisible boundary, basically saving our entire team, and also at the same time negating almost 3 ultimates now with this one support ultimate. And this is a really good play here because Sypeh knew that the win condition for this team fight lied in his use of God of Mischief. Had Sypeh put a clone up by his teammates that got Agamotto'd initially, you still don't guarantee your team's survival with the regen pools being used that early. On top of that, had Sypeh popped his regen pools early, he most likely would have died to the Thing and Bucky ult, but instead he was conservative with that cooldown, ensured that Invisible Woman stayed up and copied her, saving his entire team during that engagement. Now with roughly 2 minutes left on the clock, Sypeh's team is going to be playing a little bit more forward, and so you're going to see him pop a clone and regen pool, saving his tank who's out of his line of sight. Just another use of a more assertive clone, and of course that regen pool being used to save a teammate who was out of LOS. So here we are again, Storm ult being used as an engage tool. Invisible Boundary being popped to save our support line, but if I'm being honest, dude, I think this was a bit of a misplay. You've got 2 teammates already dead on the attacking team. Make it 3 now with the Iron Fist just respawning, but the Storm now going down and their main tank. Gonna be honest, guys, I don't really know what happened there. Just a bit of a mishap with the enemy Storm. Honestly, probably will cost them this game here. And now with less than a minute left on the clock, Fi's going to go for an Agamotto, but gets rolled. We do have a clone up front with the regen pool, but between the Invisible Boundary, the ongoing Bucky ult, we're probably just gonna have to give this one up and back away here. Can we save our Invisible Woman? No, she's going to go down, unfortunately, on the reload. I don't mind this play right here, just kind of stepping back, letting our team reset for this last team fight. Now, thinking back to 2 or 3 team fights ago, we have to think, okay, we have God of Mischief online. They just burn a whole bunch of ultimates. Our win condition is going to be in the Invisible Boundary. So, how can I set up to make sure that I'm well-positioned? And just as I say well-positioned, we do have an Iron Fist to actually jump at our stuff. We do, unfortunately, have to burn our regen pools, but it is what it is. Like I said earlier, we do have God of Mischief online with Invisible Boundary available. And now, 15 seconds left on the clock. Someone's going to have to make a play here. We're going to be putting our clones up a little bit more assertively just in case we need to save our team, but it's all going to come down to this last fight right here. And with 5 seconds left on the clock now, we have 2 ultimates up for each team. Cheaper Town Hall getting popped now. I don't mind us falling back to this more defensive position here. We have Invisible Woman in front of us. Probably go for a clone now. Pool's getting popped just to save our life. And yep, there goes the God of Mischief being activated. Just kind of saving on to our... Oh, almost killed the Iron Fist off the pole. Luckily, he did have his guard up, so they're not going to be going down quite yet. 7 seconds left. We're probably going to see it. Oh, it's just a little bit too late there, unfortunately. I make that mistake quite a lot. I'm trying to maximize the value that I get out of my God of Mischief ultimate, and sometimes I end up letting the teammate die in the process. However, it's not the end of the world because we do have another Invisible Boundary up. But just as I say that, Iron Fist is actually going to jump on top of us now. I do like this position here on the back high ground, kind of out of harm's way, just being able to spam heals down into the main choke. Once again, setting up those clones for that 120 burst healing and keeping them alive. Storm ult active now, but our Invisible Woman should be coming off the respawn. We're probably going to see Invisible Boundary. Good TP coming out. I love just that reposition with the clone TP, staying alive and popping the pools just for a little bit of added support. Of course, obviously, we did have the second Invisible Boundary go up, but now Sparker is going on a rampage with the Kraken impact, and that should be a wrap here on this defense. Good hold from the defending team. So, as we move into this offense here, we're mostly going to port behind the enemy team onto the high ground above the point. There goes the portal now, and we're just going to step out here, try and be conservative with our resources. First clone goes down, taking out the squids. Unfortunately, Black Panther does fall. Probably going to get another clone up here. Yep, there it goes right now. We're just trying to look for an entry here, but not overextend at the same time. Obviously, Black Panther being a melee character, he kind of has to get in there to make a play happen. But notice what Sypeh and the remainder of his team is doing. They're just playing the high ground right now, kind of waiting for one to fall. Nice use of the clones right there and the regen pools to keep his team alive. And he's also going to be using some of that environmental destructive power there. He actually manages to find a kill onto the Invisible Woman. Gets hooked. Good TP back to his clone up on high ground. You love to see that. So much going on right now. But as I was saying earlier, guys, he was in fact using that environmental destructive power. Oh, and just as I'm saying, we have another Namor flanking behind us. But as I was saying at the start of this video, you're going to see that Sypeh is able to utilize the destructive power with him and his clones, and Loki's just left click in general, being really good at destroying the surrounding environment, creating opportunities and sight lanes for him to heal throughout this match here on offense. So as we get the ball rolling here on offense now, he is going to be positioning him and his clones up on the cart, once again taking advantage of that long range healing and destructive capability that Loki offers, allowing his team to play forward with Invisible Woman while he sets up almost a sort of safe zone / beacon of healing here on the payload. And so as we get over to this crest here, we have a little bit of time to think, okay, we've got 3 ultimates online, the enemy team died early, and the Namor did switch off to Storm, so we probably won't be seeing any offensive ults right now, but definitely something to keep tabs on as we manage the ult economy. And just as I say that, we're going to have God of Mischief coming online now for both teams. Our Invisible Boundary is going to go down, so is theirs, and now we have a clone position up front with a pool going down. No need for us to OE, probably going to be using God of Mischief. Yep, Invisible Boundary is going up again for both teams. Just trying to keep everyone alive while all this chaos is really happening, guys. And in this situation right here, you just sort of have to go with the flow. Nice bubble coming out from our Magneto to keep our support alive. Unfortunately, Sparker does fall to the ultimate, but it does keep us alive, which is arguably a little bit better. And now as we're coming into this choke, guys, this is one of the hardest corners in the game. I say this corner point 2 here on Burning T'Challa alongside point 2 of Shin Shibuya. These are some of the hardest points in the game to get around, but our team has done a very good job of just kind of taking that space early, and now we're capitalizing on it right here. I also like this positioning right here, playing high ground to stay out of the storm mode. Always going to drop down to place down the pool, keep our invisible woman alive. But just as I say, that thing is now on us. Good use of the health pack knowledge and knowing where that resource is. Obviously, with his supports in the back line, going to be able to keep each other up. And this should just be a walk right here. 2-second point. We got about 4.3 meters left, but I don't see them, honestly, contested this whatsoever. Sparker should be able to get this pick onto the Magneto. He gets pushed out of position by, I think, our invisible woman. And yeah, there he goes. Not really much you can do there, unfortunately. You don't have the second tank to support you. But now, as we arrive here at the end of point 2, clobbering time going down, but a brilliant use of our pools from the Loki. Not using it too early, guys, because if you use your pools too early, clobbering time will, in fact, destroy the pool. So you need to be conservative, but also not too late with that resource right there. A very good play, once again, from Sypeh here at the start of point 3. Like I said earlier, at the start of point 2, Sypeh doing his own thing on cart while the remainder of his team is pushed up doing their own thing, trying to take as much space as possible while the payload moves over time. Now you're going to see a lot of ults flying right here. Fi uses his own Agamotto. Both invisible boundaries go down. And you guys did see Sypeh put his own clone up towards his team, providing some aid with the regen pool. Fortunately, we had the invisible boundary go down, so everyone is still healthy. But the fight isn't over yet. We're going to have another God of Mischief come out. And it looks like Sypeh is just going to be holding on to this ultimate a little bit longer. If I was in his shoes right now, I would pop this ultimate right as their Loki pops it. Once again, just kind of matching that firepower. Yep, we should see one go down right here. There it goes. And like I said earlier, just matching that kind of extra utility and firepower that we saw previously on the defense side last round. But with the invisible boundary coming to a close, both Star-Lord also are going to get popped. Sparker manages to actually take out the enemy Star-Lord. More clones going down now, just trying to aid himself in his survivability. Good use of the pools there, trying to keep him and his Magneto up. I don't know what's going to happen with his Bucky ult, though. Have to peel for his Star-Lord in the back. Gets marked with the Kraken impact, and yeah, unfortunately, is just going to go down. Not really too much you can do about the Bucky ult, but look what Sypeh just did coming out of spawn. Guys, pay close attention on the left of your screen. You're going to see that he has another clone up there, and while it might not necessarily be in range of his teammates, popping that pool just to give him a little bit extra survivability for the team while he isn't there, and then obviously using the clone that was already there to TP back into the fight. Great use of his resource management, and something to keep in mind as well, that when you die as Loki, your clones actually don't go away, unlike, say, Rocket Raccoon's respawn beacon or Namor's monster spawn. So good use of the resources there, even though he necessarily didn't get any value directly out of the regen pool, still just good use of the tech there. And you notice here as well, looks like one of the enemy tanks did, or maybe it was one of the DPS. Either way, they're running a triple support team comp now, and looks like Sypeh does manage to pick up another kill with that added firepower from his clones. And while we have no support ults yet, we're going to be very close to another God of Mischief here, and therefore very close to another invisible boundary as well. But just as I say that, Fi actually manages to get a 5-man Agamotto. There goes our invisible boundary via the God of Mischief, and now we have our Star-Lord popping his ult. Should be able to get all these kills right here, honestly. I don't see the team really coming back from this. But as all these ultimates come to their end, Sypeh and his invisible one peeling back from the clone Venom ult. And I actually really like this play coming out from the enemy Loki, because he didn't have any supports directly nearby for him to clone. And in the moment, it might have been a little bit too difficult to look for a clone onto our invisible woman. So he did what he could, ultimately by copying the Venom. Good use of our pools coming out from Sypeh right there, and the Meteor M to counter the Star-Lord ult. You love to see that coming out from the team. But just as I say that, though, Bass is going to manage to find 2 picks onto our support line and our Black Panther. So it looks like here we are just going to have to unfortunately disengage and kind of give this one up with almost 2 minutes left on the clock. And now right here, we are in a bit of a situation. No cooldowns available, no supports around to help us, but we are too close to the enemy team to really disengage fully. And yeah, unfortunately, we are just going to get taken out by the enemy Mantis right there. So, as we make our reset, Sypeh going to be using the clone to TP to get to his invisible woman, actually saving him right there. Popping the pools now in response to the Venom ult to keep the team alive. Love to see that. Also positioning the clone up front. If you guys saw, managed to keep one of his tanks up as well. Good stuff right there coming out from Sypeh. And unfortunately, our Black Panther did go down, but we have a little bit of breathing room now with 3 support ults going out at the same time. We're going to be copying invisible boundary here one more time. Probably going to pop this as ours goes away. Not immediately going to pop the ult, actually, because nobody is in direct danger. Sypeh once again trying to maximize value out of the God of Mischief ult. 4 seconds left, 3 seconds left, 2, 1. Gonna pop this right now. Oh my gosh, that came down to the literal millisecond. If you guys saw on the God of Mischief timer right there, there was basically none of the bar left, but that was a very well executed play coming out from Sypeh, basically min-maxing all the utility out of his ultimate there. And now we have an enemy invisible boundary coming down, more pools going down via the clones. Good use of it right there. And we are just gonna have to wait this ult out before we can take any space again. But keep in mind right here, Sypeh not going in too deep, playing at the back, playing to his strengths. He doesn't need to OE in this kind of situation. Wait, what just happened there? there. Actually, as I said that, did they just C9? I think the enemy team just C9. Yeah, I'm actually looking at this right here. It looks like the enemy team just got off the card straight up. The Venom jumped off the card to dive our back line, and that was that. So even if the enemy team did in fact C9, Sypeh's impact was in fact recognized as he managed to be the MVP for this match, doing so via his clone usage in the metrics of regen pools, teleporting out to escape danger, alongside also having some very good ultimates, keeping the support player in mind and utilizing Invisible Boundary as their win condition. Guys, if you did find any value out of this breakdown, then be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel where we upload all sorts of Marvel Rivals content alongside daily streams here on the YouTube as well. Y'all take it easy. Have a great rest of your day.